seemed like evolution was also because you like evolve from like one form to another, right? And it's like, whoa, we don't use the E word around here.
Dragon Ball Z was not allowed for me.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Because Ball Z, it's Dragon Balls.
What?
No, there's no way that's real.
I heard Game of Thrones has a lot of Dragon Balls in it.
Oh my gosh. And others.
And Momoa balls and...
Well, I'm done. Pokemon is a portal to the devil. Why?
Pokemon is largely based on Shintoism, with some Buddhism and some other
Japanese,
elements in there.
Pokemon's not making a truth claim. Pokemon can be as simple as a card game. It can be as simple as a collectible.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Critical Levitical Podcast. You guys have been introducing yourself with your name. I've not. That feels weird to me. I don't know why.
No one knows you. You're just mysteriously here. You're the unnamed host of...
The most humble of the group is what?
That's what it is. I am just so darn humble. I can't bring myself to... Speaking of humble, if you like the podcast, subscribe, hit the little bell icon, do whatever. That keeps us afloat. Leave us a good review or leave us a bad review. We'll take a 1-star review. I don't care. Just say something. Any publicity is good publicity.
I care. Right. Don't do that. Give us a 5-star.
Well, give Preston a 5-star review for his ego. Make sure you follow us on social media at Critical Levitical, wherever. We're on all the places or something. I don't really know. Steven, the Gen Z, is in charge of most of that, so I don't really know how that works, but
I'm reminded every so often that we have a TikTok, and I'm like, oh yeah. I don't know how to get to it, but we're
on TikTok. We take the talk.
Oh, word. Actually, I have a funny story about that. I've been out on a bunch of work trips recently. I speak for a living. And then we're at this conference, and this is a sales director, like pretty high up guy. Like he's super cool. His name's Herb. He's from New Jersey. And he's a short Italian guy, and he's as
shout out to Herb from New
Jersey. Herb is great, and not the listener I would expect on this podcast. But he was in, I think, Arizona or something on some conference. He was at some sales conference he was going to for Global, and he's just scrolling through Facebook Reels, and he goes, "Is that Steven?" He was like so confused. He does not follow us on any of our social media platforms. He just showed up on the feed, and he told me about it. And I was like, you are the last person I would expect to come across our podcast.
That's amazing.
Why is Nikola Tesla talking about Pokemon?
Yeah. Yeah, then I had the thought about like my work people coming across this, and I'm like, it's like a worlds colliding kind of thing. Not really, didn't expect that. It's like I was leaving church to go to the flight one time, and I was like, whoa, my brain is not used to being in work mode at this point. What's happening? Like I had those compartmentalized, I thought. Anyway, it was an interesting colliding moment.
Well, hey, we're not talking about any of that today. We are continuing our little journey towards Halloween, our little jaunty journey, talking about spooky things that Christians don't like or should not like. I don't know. But today we're talking about the Pokemans. So, hey, if you want to hear about whether or not Christians should...
It's worth noting that is a popular YouTuber.
Pokemans?
Pokemon. I guess it's what she goes by. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hey, turn your mic up, Preston.
It's pretty high. There we go. Is that better?
Sure, for now.
I just wasn't talking very loud. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to talk about some Pokemon Pocket Monsters from the Nintendo company.
Is that what it's actually? Is that what it's really short for?
Yeah.
Because
you're getting ahead of us. You're getting ahead of us, Normie. Give it a second.
Okay. My bad.
The Critical Levitical Podcast.
Okay, so I want to talk about some Pokemon stuff. Preston and I talked about it a little bit last week. Kind of the things that some of us were not allowed to do. Pokemon is fine with me. My parents, we were fine with Pokemon. I had a whole bunch of them. I played the games. Man, Pokemon Snap on N64 was my jam there for a little bit.
Nice.
It was a blast. Yeah, I don't know why that one in particular, but
do you guys remember, Steven? You probably don't.
First night of September.
Hey, no. Blockbuster. So, Steven, what Blockbuster was this video rental service that you? Anyway. They they had a deal, like a kiosk thing, that was in conjunction with what was the N64? They had like a camera based N64 game, a Pokemon game
Called Pokemon Snap.
I thought Snap
Literally
was the
what
one
I
on
just
Game
said.
Boy.
No.
Snap was the okay. Anyway, you could take the cartridge, I guess, into.
They had a printer. You could print your
Yeah.
pictures.
So cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. Mm-hmm. And then they had something similar. They had anyway. So yeah, Preston, you were not allowed to do Pokemon though, right? Or was that okay?
That position softened within a couple of years of its like popularity. So I think it was more so I mowed lawns as a kid, and so I had my own money, and
Man,
just
that's the best
like,
investment back there.
For sure. Like under the table dealings with my buddy Nick in school, like bringing his Pokemon cards, and I would buy them off of him for cash. So it was like, it wasn't like my mom was
What a
like, I was with
legend.
her at Walmart and she was like, no, put that back. It was like, I just took $5 to school and bought a stack of cards and then
Nice.
showed
Yeah.
up at home with them. And she's like, well, okay, I guess.
That's pretty incredible. I remember one year, like it's like my grandma or someone was super excited to buy me a whole bunch of Pokemon cards, and it was I opened it up and it was the Topps like knockoff Pokemon cards. Like they
I didn't
weren't
know that was a
they were
thing.
just they were basically like baseball cards, but for Pokemon. Topps had a run of them, just to
Interesting.
capitalize
That's
on
rude.
the thing. And I was like, but I didn't know, like, how do you explain to your grandma?
Right.
You know what I mean?
These aren't
Like,
real. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the excitement, high highs, and then very low lows, and then
Yep.
just very confusing, like social, like experience of like, well, grandma, I really want to be excited, but these are actually right up there next to worthless. So,
What did they
thanks
have?
for
Were they
nothing.
like baseball cards, and that they had like the physical stats on them and just a picture, or did they also have like the moves and stuff?
No,
that they could
it
do?
was just like physical stats and picture, like different background, or like back. So like, yeah, you couldn't fold them into like a deck or anything like that. So you couldn't play with them. You couldn't like,
Fascinating.
Anyway, I don't know why that
Interesting.
sticks out. Anyway, so yeah, we
Your
talked a little
grandma
bit.
the whole time was like, "Wait, some of these are worth money." She was that's literally if you had ever told her that.
Right.
She's gonna call you in a couple of years and be like, "Hey, do you still have those?"
Right. Well, no, I played the game a ton, like the actual card game thing, like
Dude, I'm
used
so
the energy
jealous.
things and all of that.
I wanted
to
that
so bad,
was-
It's fun.
So yeah, let's do it. I bought both of my kids little starter decks and tried to show them, but I realized very
kidding.
quickly that it's a little bit of a steep learning curve for where they were. This was about
Fair.
a year ago.
Okay.
Now maybe because there's like a lot,
Lincoln's
like,
like-
oh, you got to have the right type of energy and you got to be able to
Yeah.
like, you know.
But it's not that.
yeah.
The hardest part's the deck building. That's the anyway.
Yeah.
If-
Well, there's a lot of reading, and when you're still getting used to reading,
Oh yeah, I guess.
like that's a whole. But yeah.
fair enough.
Anyway,
If you don't know how to read, I guess that's a good point.
yeah.
I think
Lincoln
that's
was,
50
just
damage.
starting to read. Right.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway. Yeah. So last time we talked a little bit about some of that 90s, early 2000s stuff that was forbidden, but I found a good little clip that will kind of jog our memories for some of these things and the whole context of this satanic panic. So let's watch that real quick.
There is no right way, so I fall in love just a little bit.
Honestly, the idea of the Pope blessing the Pokemon franchise is hilarious, but really the entire thing is just an evolution out of what was already occurring over the course of the 1980s and 1990s. Because, my friends, if this previous decade of the 2010s was everything is racist and everything is sexist, then the 1980s and 90s was everything is satanic. And no, I'm not exaggerating. The description of the cultural backlash that would occur over the course of the 1980s going into the late 1990s and in some cases into the early 2000s is largely referred to as the Satanic Panic. A time in which, for a number of religious communities, that certain things that were coming out during this time period were just evil. Dungeons and Dragons, metal music, all kinds of different things were seen as a corrupting influence upon youth that were actually turning them into satanic worshippers. And one of the things that exemplified this in Italy at the time was Pokemon, because it was referred to as pocket monsters. So people genuinely thought that it was satanic.
Yeah. So pocket monsters. I looked it up. The Pope did actually bless Pokemon. He came out
Yeah, I saw
in
that.
the year 2000. Blessed the Pokemon franchise is Pope John Paul II,
It's so funny.
calling it full of inventive imagination and based on ties of intense friendship.
What does that like practically mean, though, for the Pope to like bless
who even knows?
something?
Yeah, I
Like,
think
what
it's
does that
just okay.
accomplish?
Means it's
Yeah,
okay.
that's
right?
the thing,
I think that
is-
was the big.
Since the Bible isn't the final authority, the Pope is.
Ooh,
There's sometimes.
That's not even.
Was that controversial? I think that
for
our
Catholics.
Catholic listeners are like,
That's the
nailed it.
thing.
Yep, no notes.
yeah, no, I guess that like I don't know, like it
They
felt
just say
really
the Pope
snarky, but
won't
no,
be
you're
wrong.
exactly right. Like that's the
Yeah, I mean,
position.
Technically, it's the Pope and by extension the Church, because they would view the Church as the final authority and
Yes.
the final governance of God's
Yep.
word. And the Pope being the
Therefore.
head of the Church, therefore. Anyway, so if you are like a Catholic's Catholic, there are moments where you're potentially paralyzed by something like Pokemon and like, oh gosh, until the Pope tells me what to do with this, I'm going to assume that I shouldn't. Which I know, if you're one of our Roman Catholic listeners, and we haven't somehow ran you off yet, first of all, I'm glad you're here. Secondly, I'm not intending to be reductive of your viewpoint. Let us know in the comments where we're wrong.
Please, it's been going on with some other things we've been talking about. So
And that's good. We want to actually have good faith conversations about some of these
that's
things.
right.
So yeah, Pokemon was on the list of things that were evil. I remember it was a question, I think, for me growing up. Ultimately, my parents landed on it's fine. The pocket monsters was like part of it. I think for at least in my circle, it seemed like evolution was also because you like evolve from like one form to another, right? And it's like, whoa, we don't use the E word around here. And that was a no-no. But
It's almost as bad as vegetarian.
yeah,
Almost.
can't use the V word either.
Yeah, ours was this. I was largely the same. Yu-Gi-Oh was the limit for us.
Yeah,
Couldn't have
Because of the
Yu-Gi-Oh
magic
cards.
and stuff
Purple
like that.
Fire. Yeah, Pokemon didn't have as much Purple Fire, and they looked happy. So
What are
guess that
you
makes it
talking
better.
about with purple fire?
no, it's a
Is
joke
that
with
Prince
my,
song?
Like, it used to. Wait, I think that's. Oh. Oh man,
So is
No.
purple fire like a
it's
like a
just
sign
like
of something?
fill in for dark magic is just that's what I mean when I say Purple Fire. It's like a joke with my mom because she didn't. We make fun of her now that she didn't let us have Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and so we say, "Does this have too much Purple Fire for you, Mom?" Is what we say. Yeah, it's a thing.
Okay, so mine to that end, Dragon Ball Z was not allowed for me.
Oh, yeah,
Mm.
interesting.
But the reason, at least as far as I know, was that I was given was,
I
well,
know where this is going.
because Ball Z, it's Dragon Balls.
What?
No, there's no way that's real. Wait,
That can't be. Speaking of that, by the way, so I was a huge Dragon Ball Z fan growing up. And I bought an old truck recently that's a 5-speed, and I was looking for like, I'm gonna see if there's any shifter knobs out there. I found Dragon Ball like shifter knobs.
oh, that's cool. Yeah,
yeah, it's like an epoxy,
Nice.
orange epoxy thing with the stars,
Yeah, that's
like
cool.
inside of it
That's
and
cool.
everything. So that's my shifter knob. Something's
Ooh,
wrong.
I had a church member say, "Did we fix it today?" To me, I appreciated that. Thank
Hey,
you,
was it
Shout out
Sarah?
to you.
Yeah.
It was Sarah,
Nice.
avid listener Sarah.
Hey, thanks, Sarah. I don't know you, but
Mhm.
thanks.
She did say,
Also-
though. I think a couple episodes ago, you did not fix it. I was like, oh,
This-
I was like, fair
Hey,
enough. Yeah,
sometimes it takes a few episodes to fix it.
That's
you
right.
know?
yeah, that's right. That's true.
Takes some time.
Mm-hmm.
A little
Some
peek
episodes-
behind the curtain. There's a lot of things we haven't actually fixed.
Some problems are microwaves, some problems are crock pots. All right, give us time.
But that's good.
Ooh, I've
That's
never heard
good.
that. That's good. Mm.
Okay, so why do you think it? So, well, no, we talked about that a little bit about why. Any other thoughts on why these things became taboo? It's Pokemon, the card games, like stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's just like, monsters and scary things and
Why are
demon
monsters
adjacent.
taboo specifically? Because I don't know that I would ever think to
Yeah.
my kids like, "Hey, monsters
Same.
are don't."
Yeah, but it get different. I don't know. Yeah, I think so. There's a difference between the Satanic Panic and Pokemon because Pokemon's a '90s thing. Like that's when it started, and so I think it's
Right.
like off the back of that. And so I think monsters are demon adjacent. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're within the same category, is what I feel like for a lot of people think. Or that's how they think about it. I don't know. Obviously, like none of us on this panel are like we're not banning our kids from Pokemon cards or anything like that. But we've literally talked about how we are doing the opposite. So, but yeah, I think that's
we'll get there.
That's true. And again, it's not like I think we've had this type of discussion before where it's like, I'd rather be overly cautious than underly cautious. So I honestly don't fault any parent for limiting their children access on hardly anything. Like, I think it's probably a good thing the more limits you have on your children than less.
Yeah.
So,
we ventured a little bit into that on the last episode, just about like where it was probably okay. Some of the like, overemphasization in the Satanic Panic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's a world in which it's done well and a world in which it's done poorly.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
having some good faith
conversation. Sure, yeah, that's true. Like having some good faith conversations about the what and the why instead of just like, they said vegetarian, you're not watching that. Like,
right. Yeah,
that's a different thing.
And for some people, it may have been just that. But yeah, anyway, keep going. Yeah,
that's true. No, I was going to show an example of probably where it's not done well.
So Pokemon is a game that teaches children how to enter into the world of witchcraft, how to cast spells. Pokemon World is a world of the demonic, of the satanic. But while you might not take it quite seriously, I assure you that demons take it quite seriously. Satan takes it quite seriously. There was even a couple of reports where children had been stabbed by other children over Pokemon cards. Why?
It's so iconic. Why
really
is so iconic.
Which I didn't realize that. I guess that's where it came from. I don't know.
I'd seen that clip before.
To speak to both that clip. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say the whys aren't normally back to back in the actual sermon. They're different parts of it. But
right, anyway. Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So to speak to that clip and to your previous question about like kind of how that idea spread or whatever, I think like that is a perfect example of that. And it's not any different today, right? Look at like the kind of ridiculous nonsense that like gets spread in a matter of hours, like because of TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Like it just spreads faster now, but it's the same thing, right? Like you have like the Tylenol is bad crew and the Tylenol is not bad crew. And now like everyone has an opinion on Tylenol that previously never once thought about it. Right. And that happened in a matter of 24 hours. And in the same way, we have like pastors with TV shows that told our parents who were children of the 80s, who were already like keyed up because they grew up in this culture, that are now like seeing this and like, Pokemon is a portal to the devil. Why? And so they're like, well,
that was great.
I mean,
that was great. No, you're good. No, I agree with that. Like people are a product of their time and there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's not inherently bad. It's just like, if it's kind of like we were talking about before the podcast, like people have to have an opinion on everything. And so I think when parents like see somebody so avid about it, or they hear friends talking about Pokemon, they're like, well, I don't really know what it is, and so they have to know for their kid because they want to be sure that their kid's not going into something so it's better to be, I think for a lot of parents, it's just better to be cautious. And so I think that's, if you hear some people talking bad about it, best to just stay away in general. I think that's kind of what it was for a lot of people.
I think it speaks to our the tribal nature of people. Like we talked about this a little bit in the Mormon episodes too, where like we just crave community. And so we're going to find that in one side or the other. And that's part of why we see all of the division we see today, is because everybody wants to identify with something. Everyone craves community. And when you're not finding healthy community somewhere else, you're going to find it somewhere, like anywhere. Right. And so if that means I'm going to entrench myself in this position because there's people there, I'm going to like lean into that, then that's what people do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think that our culture right now also, especially, like it encourages and capitalizes on division.
Yeah, capitalizes the keyword there.
In a way that really hasn't been seen at this scale and in this way, I think, before. Where really it's almost celebrated in some ways. What makes me sad is when you start to see that inside the church and the context of the church, where division is celebrated and encouraged. Like, hey, if you're upset with your church, there's 10 more churches down the road. Like, go try one of them. And like, to some extent, maybe, but also like mainly figure out how to get along despite your differences, despite where you disagree. Because that's I mean, that's the picture of the gospel as far as it relates to our relationships together, right?
Right. No more Jew, Greek, slave or free. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, right there.
He was talking about Pokemon.
Specifically, yeah.
Yeah,
No more
right.
fire, grass,
Right.
water,
Right.
earth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, so
it's ground and rock type, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I think I got into Avatar a little bit towards the end of it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
I lost
right.
the plot.
Yeah.
I think one of the things though that maybe is a little helpful in our current culture, because I think you're right, we see the same type of things, it just happens faster, is it also dies faster. Like it ignites quickly and then fizzles out and burns through.
Yeah, they
like,
get over
the
it too
Tylenol
quick.
thing is a great example. If it's there for about 48 hours, every piece of content everywhere was about Tylenol or the government, like health, whatever, RFK, all of that. And about 48 hours later, the only thing I see are the occasional jokes about Tylenol, right?
It's a great point. The memes will last.
So the memes transcend.
Yeah.
So
that's actually a really good
maybe
point.
helpful.
I hadn't thought about that, but that's a great point. People only care about what other people are caring about, and so as soon as the other people stop caring, they don't care, and that happens pretty quick.
Fascinating. Also, kind of sad too.
I very nearly posted on Facebook last night, like, hey, are we still angry about Tylenol? Like, just as like a jab at like, hey, just a heads up, like you guys move on from things way too quickly for people who are so opinionated about it so early on.
Yeah. I talked about this with...
I was going to go back. Do you guys remember, Stephen, you were approximately 4 when this happened, but
sounds about
you
right.
remember Coney in 2012?
Yes. Yeah.
The Invisible
when I was in high school,
earliest
all right?
example I can remember of that.
Yeah.
Wait, no, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
2012?
What year
Oh,
was
wait,
you graduating?
2012. I was graduated already.
Wait, what are you? Yeah, Coney 2012. I was in high school.
For some reason, I was thinking that happened earlier than it. I mean, you literally said 2012, and I still went back a few years before that. Anyway, go ahead.
What? No, that was 2008. You weren't in high school.
That's the year I was expecting. Yeah.
Yeah, fascinating. So Coney 2012 was wild, man, and that was probably
people were wearing shirts.
Yeah, I knew a kid, Stephen. He's probably about your age. At the time, he was a kid. He may have even been younger. He may have been a freshman when that happened. But he blew like his life savings, which, as a 15-year-old is way different. But
$20,
everything that he had in savings. No, I mean, it ended up being like $300. He got like the big box, like it had like the shirt that, I don't even remember all the like sent papayas to the 4 corners of the earth or something. I don't remember how all of that went down. But man, that thing exploded and then it was like, hang on, there's actually no accredited anything with any of this. Like, yeah, there's sad stuff that's happening there, but the organization that you're giving money to has nothing to do with that. Anyway, it was a whole thing.
How did that connect? Sorry, I'm still missing the Coney 2012 connection.
I don't remember.
Just
I think about just things
buying
like
into stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, things exploding and then completely disappearing. Right? Because if it was truly like, oh my gosh, this is a paradigm shifting thing, and now we have to save all of the children being conscripted into the, where's that now? It's not happening today. What happened? Like, it ignites super quick, burns up all of its fuel, and then it's gone.
Good point.
Okay, but let's talk for a second about, because I think that largely has an effect on the same way we consume media and current events. I think we tend to see that same consumption model in church and in the things of the faith, because we're so like rapid fire people, like culturally, people tend to approach their faith the same way. And you see this really often in people who like are really on fire, really passionate, like they are saved and they're like, everything's changed, like I'm a whole new person, and then 6 weeks later it's like, where are they? I haven't seen them in a week.
I think you mean every summer church camp ever.
Ooh,
yeah, that's what, like, my first thought was that, and then even like Jesus predicts that a little bit in the parable of the sower, right? Like,
yeah,
literally says they get excited about like their faith, and then they're not fed, they don't have roots, and so they die away with the cares of the world, which is unfortunate.
No, that's a good point in churches. You also think, or with people with faith, but the same is true with people's ecclesiology. Like they view church, they're looking for the church that's doing the next new thing. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are.
Which, like, that's a problem that the church continues. Some churches. Let me.
Yes,
I heard. Sorry. Let me make a little aside, because I can't remember who I was talking to about it the other day, but somebody called out, I think it was maybe Brian that I was talking to, was like, it might have been a Vodi Bakum sermon where he talked about like, be careful how you talk about the church because it is still the bride of Christ. So when there are things like that you have issues with, be careful how you're addressing that because you are talking about.
That's a word.
That is
the bride of Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
anyway,
so good.
I say all that to say, let me clarify. Some churches, not the church, some churches
For sure.
continue to invest in and pour into that and operate that same way. So the same way that we're talking about like people who are on fire for a minute and then gone, like you see the same kind of thing in some like very consumption model churches where it's like, well, we're doing at the movies. Wouldn't it be so exciting if you came and did that with us? And then like we're shocked when those people aren't in those seats 4 weeks later. And that's like that's just more like fuel on the fire of like, just preach the word because like it doesn't return void. Like you can keep coming back to the word week after week after week after week after week, continue feeding the sheep, and guess what? They're gonna come back.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Will.
What's hard is like you even have sheep though, I think, who are good and faithful and well meaning that have a hard time differentiating between the two. Like they can be good and well-meaning and still wondering, what's our next thing? What's our big thing? What's our banner?
Yeah.
What's our flag? What's our
That's fair.
stake in the ground? Because that's what they were discipled into, and that's where they've seen their faith grow. That's where they've seen other people's faith grow. Just over the last, just think about like in the West, churches have been oriented that way for 40 or 50 years. And so you have people who are in their 60s, that's their definition of church. And so they ask for that. And so when we don't do those things, they think that we're an ineffective church because we're doing less than our predecessors did, if that's the case. And I think that they are still, I don't think that they are falling away. I don't think that they are goats. I don't think that they are wolves. I think they just don't know better. And so we have to be patient to shepherd them through that and understand that it's going to be painful. It's going to be hard. The tendency is going to be to fall back into what we know, fall back into, I mean, to use a silly example, we're going to fall back into pizza parties. We're going to fall back into like whatever it is because that's easy. It seems effective and it's doing something. Whereas otherwise we tend to feel like we're stagnating, right? There's a lot of things like that I think we, when we start to add more. So here's a principle. If anybody, the 3 people who listen to this podcast who know anything about sound design, for example, if you're doing like an audio mix on vocals, you start adding reverb, you start adding more reverb, you start adding more reverb. It gets really, really wishy-washy. But when you do that, you don't really even notice because when you take the reverb away, now it sounds empty. It doesn't sound good anymore. And I think that a lot of times our ministry, but the reality is it sounds better, right? But I think a lot of times we approach ministry the same way. We've gotten oversaturated that we start pulling things back. And all of a sudden, it feels like we're not doing anything. It feels empty. It feels wrong. In reality, it's a correction.
That's a good illustration there, Cameron. Look at that pastor coming out.
Look at that. Yeah, it wasn't alliterative, so.
Yeah, 90 out of 100.
Thank you. Yeah, that's A-.
No, but that's a good illustration. I love that. That's a good point. Churches
what
are
were you going to
always...
say, Stephen?
Oh, I was just
Before
going to
we
say, I
go
wish I could have been in that meeting where that first church to do an At the Movies series, they were like, we have found the thing, the next church thing, because it's caught on, that's for sure.
This is going to
Did
bring
Life
Lord
Church
back.
start that? Were they the ones who invented that?
It's possible. It's possible.
That was
but
the
I don't
first
know.
time I ever remember hearing about it. And then there for a
I've
minute,
heard-
everybody
They certainly
was doing it.
popularized it.
Yeah, I
They
think
started doing it like in 2012 or something. It was a long
it's
time
been around
ago.
for a long time. And they do them pretty regularly, I think. But yeah, it's always interesting though too, because I've been invited to Life Church, a few times, and I think every time I've been invited, they're like, "We're doing an at the movie series." Either they're more bold to invite people during that series, or
They
like,
they
it just-
encourage them. Hey, this is
Yeah.
a great time to invite people
Okay,
because
that makes sense. I do see
people will show
signage
up
all
for
the time.
Frozen. Like people will show up for Jurassic Park or whatever.
My daughter will.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And here's what's maybe a little controversial in this conversation. I don't think it's inherently bad if you were to do it sometimes, like maybe as an event or as an aside or as like a
why not?
Friday night at the movie thing
Sure.
or something like that. But when you start like orienting your whole church and service toward it and spending like
The whole
gargantuan
thing
amounts
changes.
of money
Yes,
towards that,
Yes,
then I'm like,
the entire foyer is dedecorated. It's a whole thing.
I don't know if I can go
You got
that
popcorn.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
okay,
I think doing
so-
stuff like that's cool, but like, yeah, not your Sunday. Like that's the Lord's Day, man. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah.
Right.
That's what. So
What's up,
Kevin,
Preston?
Careful,
well,
we're not
actually, let me-
Seventh Day Adventists.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
yeah, I'm going to retract that. I'm not naming any names. Someone sent me a video on I don't know, one of the platforms where this guy
Not
was talking
TikTok.
about. Yeah, not that one. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not hip enough for that. Was talking about how he, as a young pastor, was like kept begging his congregation to serve in the preschool. Please serve in the preschool. We don't have enough people. Please serve watching kids. And just couldn't get anybody to do it. So he gets up one Sunday morning. He says, I can't get any of y'all to help, so I'm going down there to help. You figure out what's next. And he just drops the mic and walks away and like goes and serves in the preschool. And I was like I immediately was like, yeah, get him. And then I was like, wait a minute. That's that's my flesh responding. Let me back up for a second. I'm really conflicted about how to feel about that. And this goes back to like what you were saying a second ago there, Cam, about like, do it like as an event, do it on a Friday night or whatever. Like, but don't make that your whole thing, because us, like, as pastors, we have a duty to like make sure the flock is cared for and being shepherded, even in like the preschool area. But we have like Scripture places a pretty strong emphasis on the ministry of the word in this position, and so like as he's telling that story, I'm like, I really don't know how to feel about this, because you're making a great example, I feel like, but at the same time, like you're forsaking the one thing
way.
that you are.
Yeah.
Yes, you're forsaking the one thing that you are uniquely called as a pastor to be able to do.
You just walk away from the pulpit on a Sunday. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also, like, I could just see that triggering a bunch of people. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
if that's
he
most
said like
gracious way to go
after
about
like.
that.
Yeah, he said when people came to pick up kids, like the like head deacon or chairman of the deacons or whatever came to him, he's like, they're going to run you out, pastor. Like, I don't know how the story goes
What a
after
thing to
that,
say.
but like he was warned, like that could be the end for you.
Yeah, sometimes
Like,
that
just
is
a lot of
funny
unhealth
thing.
there.
Because I think when you just initially hear like a young pastor who got run out by a church, he was like, you think that the church was in the wrong all the time, but the more you hear stories, a lot of times people just try to do stuff just to change stuff, and you're like, you don't have to do that. And so that, anyway, not
Just to be
everybody.
clear,
There's
I
not
don't think
always
that's worth like running the pastor out of the church.
no,
Probably
that's
a
not what I'm
corrective
saying.
conversation,
Yeah, I'm
but
not.
yeah.
Yes, correct. I agree. I'm just, there's always two sides to every coin.
Fascinating.
I kind of don't know how we got here.
I don't
honestly.
either.
At the movies.
Following this train of thought is going to be
Even at the movies.
Yeah,
how
no,
did
I
we
can't.
get to
I can't
that?
go any further back than that. But that's where this part started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, summarize this episode. It just uses a shrug
hold
emoji.
on. I can do it. We were talking about how the hate for Pokemon like trickled down. It was a consumption model. We talked about consumption model making church more watered down. We talked about how that became like an at the movies thing, and then at the movies became what I just talked about. So
okay,
we're a long
Thank
way
you,
from home,
Preston.
boys.
a little bit.
If I take
We're
one
not in
more
Kansas
step,
anymore.
this is the furthest away from home I've ever been.
That meme, I think I sent it to the group. I think I sent it a couple times to the group.
Surely
if I,
you've
this is it.
seen-
If I take
yes.
one more step, I'll be further
Surely
right than
you've
I've ever
seen-
been before.
Oh yeah, I saw that. But have you guys seen the video? This is one of the most iconic YouTube videos of all time. It's Lord of the
What
Rings.
a bold claim.
But every time Sam takes a step, he says, if I take one more step, it's like 13 hours long. It's like so good.
It's like actually the whole movie?
Yes, it's the whole movie. And
I
every time
love the
Sam takes a
internet
step
so
after
much.
that point, he says that line again.
On the
Every
complete
single time.
flip side, there's a scene
It's
I sent
so
to
good.
Haley the other day that's like Lord of the Rings, except it's every time a female character talks to another female character.
Is it
And
like
it's-
zero?
It's like the intro credits reveal in, and then it's one of the kids like in Helm's Deep, like, "Mother, what's going to happen?" Directed by Peter Jackson.
Oh, that's incredible.
So good.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
that's
Have you ever heard of the
That's
Bechdel
good.
test? It's supposedly.
Yes, I know that
it's
name. Yeah.
It's not. It's dumb. I think we're gonna get
No, I've
roasted.
heard that, though.
I'm sorry, but basically, it's a test to see how egalitarian, how non-feminist your work of art
Yeah,
is.
the Bechdel test.
Um,
yes.
basically, there's several criteria, and there's a lot of, like, Lord of the Rings does not meet that criteria. Basically, one of the main things is a female character has to have a conversation with another female character about something that is not involving a male. And the amount of movies that do that
Probably not a lot.
are astonishingly small.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
was
like,
about to say.
but and like psychologists are like divided onto whether that's like a valid test of how like feminist or not feminist or misogynistic a thing is, but it's just very, very interesting.
That seems like an unhelpful metric. Like,
Basically, the idea is in a patriarchal world, women only exist to serve and support and talk about men. So
Media.
so there's
supports
no
that,
reason
kind of
for
the
them
idea.
to talk about anything that doesn't discuss men. And so when you look at media, that's proven by how hard it is to find works of art that feature females just talking to females about things that are not.
yeah,
men.
but like that conversation could just be, hey, did you sweep the houselet yet? Like you're supposed to. Like, didn't talk about a man, female talk to female. It meets the criteria, but it's still
Yes. That's one of the
largely-
things. That's one of what critics will point to. Yeah, I'm not saying that I agree with the Bechdel test necessarily.
It's just
I think
a
it's an
test.
interesting,
It's a
like,
thought. It's more of like
yeah.
a thought-provoking, like exercise more than anything.
because the
Yeah.
inverse is what often happens in media, where female characters exist solely to support the male characters.
especially in, like, I would say in fiction, that is the case a lot. So yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, that's most
Like,
of the
women
MCU.
always like walk in with flowing hair and buxom like forms and whatever, and it's like, well, okay, are there any unattractive women in this universe that you've written?
Yeah, ever. Yeah.
Are there any women who just exist in and of themselves without being characterized by their appearance? Because the man is like, he looked like a normal man, but the woman walked in and her
Right,
silhouette
yeah.
was an hourglass.
He's just
like,
some dude. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
not
the
without
the
its
Scarlet
merit, but
Witch
it's not-
kind of commanded.
What?
Sure,
This guy-
but
I
don't
didn't follow
like. I
that.
think it was like 3 movies before she even passed the Bechdel test. So citation.
Oh, you're talking about in Marvel?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because before that, she was just like the cutesy little housewife.
I think you
Sorry,
watched a different series. than I did.
going back to
WandaVision.
WandaVision. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, let's get back to Pokemon.
Wow.
Give the people what they may or may not have come for.
They.
Pokemon.
I was talking to somebody this morning who they were like, "Hey, I love what you're doing, man. Unpacking stuff." I was like, because he like was struggling with words for a second. I was like, scattered, chaotic, crazy, insane, pointless. He's like, yeah, but I think that's why we watch. It's like,
Aw.
I'll take it.
Yeah, cool.
So anyway, hey, we're
Nice.
back. I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna throw this last clip up, and then we'll kind of use that as our platform to consider thinking about
Fix
possibly fixing it.
You know that
There.
Pokemon's demonic? Check this out.
A month ago, the Lord told me to throw out my $30,000 Pokemon collection because it was demonic. I didn't understand it, but I obeyed. So I prayed and I'm like, Lord, like, what's going on? And he said, research it. Research Pokemon. In my 23 years of being a fan of Pokemon, I never thought to actually find out what inspired it. And inspiration is important because 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16 to 17, it says, all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. So when I learned that Pokemon was inspired by Japan's oldest religion, Shintoism, demons and false gods, mythology, and a mixture
The original clip cuts off too. I didn't like
Interesting.
mess that up. Anyway,
Why does that video, every time, Cameron, that video is 189 likes? I don't get it. I
hey,
don't get it.
we had
it's
a video
someone
with
recording someone
like
else's
9 likes
content.
once.
And saying nothing. Yeah, right?
I
That's what
know.
I'm talking about. At least we have original content.
That's what
most
we
of
need to
the
do
sort
is
of
we
time.
just need to like
Most
take
of
these
the-
clips and just do
Just
this.
put our face on it. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
That's right.
Whatever. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. So one
I have
thing
some
that
thoughts
I'll
on
point
that.
out, I have sure, yeah. So I run a podcast, man. Of course we have thoughts on it.
I have nothing to say anymore.
All done. We fixed it. No, there's a little bit of like a categorical error there when he says like inspiration
Yeah.
matters, and then he
Caught
quotes
that too.
2 Timothy 3:16,
I was like,
17.
well,
It's like,
It's not really the
That-
same.
yeah, the verse does exist, but that verse
Correct, and
doesn't
you-
say the thing that you said that it said.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I thought that was
I
I all I pictured was him searching Bible verses with inspiration in it, like, is the word, and then like
right, and then it doesn't even say that, so he had to like make his own kind of pseudo translation to make it say the thing that he.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was like, that doesn't. That's not.
Yeah. My thing though, like, sorry, Cameron, were you done? Because I'm kind of itching to say something. Okay,
scratch that itch.
Okay, because like. Your initial thought is like, oh, he got rid of 30 grand of like Pokemon, which first of all, I almost don't believe that, but I didn't get to see a good look at his connection. It looked like bulk referring to like, common cards and stuff. Yeah. So maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But anyway,
I also hope he didn't just throw it away because I would have taken those.
That's what you do.
That's a whole.
At least donate it. But anyway, if you have a conviction, I think we talked about this was a Halloween episode. If you have a conviction to not do something because it's inspired by something pagan, then fine, by all means. Stop doing it. If you don't want to do it because you don't like that it's like tied to paganism, like to other religions, then fine. I think that's great. Actually, I think that's a good thing to do. Again, and we talked about it too. Which this guy didn't seem to be in that case. It seems like he's genuinely trying to inform people. But like, as long as you don't expect others to operate within that same law that you've created, if that makes sense. But if you're like convicted of something, by all means, like live to that conviction, give up hobbies, whatever you want to do. If it helps you glorify God. Again, I do have some issues, just like, theologically speaking, that like God would specifically verbally tell you to give up your Pokemon collection. Like,
sure,
maybe, but if you have the conviction, then like, fine. You know what I'm saying? So that's like I think that needs to be my thought more so than just like, I can't believe you do that kind of a thing. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I want to go all the way back to the very beginning because I'm still struggling trying to imagine spending $30,000 on something. I think there's one thing in my life I've spent that much money on, and that's my house. Like, I don't think any of my vehicles cost that. Probably combined.
Surely he means that's like the face value of
what he's amassed.
Opens them up.
Yeah.
And
right.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't see many card protectors though.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, there were no sleeves. There was none of the actual plastic like protector sleeves, not just the.
That's how valuable they are. Unprotected, they're still worth $30,000.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm like, I'm a little hesitant to say that that's 30 grand, but maybe, whatever.
You know what it could be is it could just be some guy on the internet Christian clout chasing.
That's also
That's
true.
what we do every week at Friday. He releases at 6:00 Eastern.
Yeah, it just
doesn't
isn't
work, but...
working. All we're doing is making the Mormons
yapping.
Hey,
yeah.
But we got them.
Yep.
We made Catholics angry too when we talked about Lent.
We talked about the Pope
I guess
today,
I don't remember
so that's sure to get them going too.
Hey, that's right. No, I did some research because anybody on the internet can say anything.
Very
Here
true.
we are. And he's correct. Pokemon is largely based on Shintoism, with some Buddhism and some other
Japanese,
elements in there. Creator was like, but the creator wasn't like a devout Shintite. I don't know,
Shintoist.
Yes, and like I should make a card game about this. He was like, I should
evangelize
right. He was like, I should make a video game about something cute little things that you collect and maybe they battle and stuff. I'm going to struggle to come up with 151 different random things. Hey, I know. There's this entire religion that has a literally infinite amount of demigods. I'll just use some of those.
Yeah.
And so he did. And now we're at, how many Pokemon are there now, Steven?
There are, total, there's over 1,000. There's 9 generations of them, each over 100. So there's like...
So many.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of them.
Yes, that's a lot. But yeah, there's lots of parallels. They are like somewhat based. Kami, Kami, you said it. Kami, Kami. I don't know. They're like spiritual beings, and like this ancient Japanese spirit realm. Some of them being really, really powerful. Some of them being very like rudimentary. But there's all kinds of like there's ancient artwork of like I'm pretty sure that's a Ninetales and things like that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. He's not wrong.
No, I know he's not wrong. Like, it clearly has its ties. It's just like a part of that is kind of ghost hunting a little bit. Like, you're almost looking for something to get mad at that point, if that makes sense. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you can judge things. Like, I think it's important to be aware of like the origin of things, but it's also not always wrong to just judge things at face value and like say this is a fun little like kids game. You know what I'm trying to say?
Like,
so.
I think there's like a kind of part of the issue with it goes back to, I think, a like theological difference of opinion, where like the people who look at that and they're like, well, because it's based on that, that's a problem, because like you're going to accidentally like worship this thing. And like I mean, I'm sure you guys feel the same. I don't like, you're not going to just accidentally engage in worship of,
but you can't accidentally take the mark of the beast. So watch out.
Right. Like
which Pokemon do you have to catch to do that?
That whole sphere, like what'd you say?
I said, which Pokemon do you have to catch to do that? To catch
the unknowns.
Yeah.
That's a glitch.
The spookiest ones, yeah. Anyway, like there's that whole idea of like you could go to Goodwill and buy a bowl that was haunted, and now like all of a sudden you've accidentally invited a demon into your house, because it's like that like transcends just
same
Pokemon
concept.
Or whatever, like same concept that bleeds into like, well, Pokemon is scary because it's loosely kind of based on this other thing over here, even though you're not actively engaging on it and you don't know. Now it'd be one thing if the creator was like, this is based on Shintoism, and these like, this is the god that this represents and this is the god that this represents, then I'd be like, maybe we don't. It's mainly with that.
From what I understand, and this has changed largely. Like I think that's what, because it's true in Generation 1, it's large. Like a lot of the creature designs are based off of like creatures in like not just Japanese lore, but also Chinese lore too.
Yeah. There's some like Buddhist elements in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
some
like Gyarados is a perfect example.
Buddhists.
Yeah. But as each generation has come out, as the game has expanded, it's by region. So like they take that same mythological part of each different culture. Like it's not just like, I think that's what people kind of forget. Like with each new generation, it's a new region of the world, and it has different design inspirations based off that part of the world. And I would say a vast, vast, vast majority of Pokemon are designed from like some inanimate object or an animal, not necessarily from some mythological thing. Some of them are though. So it's like, I think being aware of that is totally fine. I think like pointing that out and making sure parents are aware of that is actually probably a good thing to make sure people are aware of. But like your kid, I don't know, like you still have like control. Like your kid can think it's a cool creature. And I don't even know. Like I've never heard, I'm pretty into the Pokemon sphere. Like no one ever calls them monsters. They just call them Pokemon. So it's like they don't even have to be called, like they're not even viewed that way. They're like companions more than anything in the stories. And
so that's one of the things that I looked into, and one of the like rebuttals that people have made is that
to what? Sorry, rebuttals to what I just said.
The companion part. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like no, the whole part of it, especially as you get deeper and deeper into the lore, and with the Gen, I think it was maybe Gen 7. There's a whole like subplot line about like coming to view the Pokemon as like companions and like your helpers and things like that. And so the deeper you go into that, the more you're beginning to now invite these kami to join with you, and you are letting them shape your decisions rather than you shaping their decisions. Which I was
interesting.
Like, that's interesting.
Why?
Because of how far so like with Preston's example, it's like buying the demon possessed bowl, right? I don't know that demons possess inanimate objects, whatever. But as a counterpoint, I would say that most Christians, especially like non-Pentecostal Western Christians, so whatever part of the Venn diagram that is, are like woefully unaware of the spiritual realm.
That's fair.
And really to the point of dangerously ignoring the reality of the spiritual realm.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And I don't know exactly where my landing or conclusion with that is. It's a data point in the conversation, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think and that's what I think I'm trying to say earlier. It's like, yeah, parents should still be aware that like, hey, this isn't just like completely like devoid of any, pagan or like ties or whatever. Like there are other mythologies, other religions tied into it. Like Arceus is a Pokemon who's the creator Pokemon. Like there's all of that. So like there's stuff like people should be aware of, like, I don't know. So I think that's fair, but I think it's also, again, just in my opinion, it's kind of like a ghost hunt. You're like almost looking for something to get upset about at that point, if that makes sense, or to get, yeah.
Yeah,
What's up,
it reminds me of I saw this, just a couple of people like get on this a couple years ago around a particular shot that people were being asked to take. But that the word pharmakeia, or however you would say that in the Greek, which specifically refers to like sorcery or like witchcraft or the use of drugs, any of which like to persuade someone like to do something.
To alter your state of mind. Yeah.
Yes. And I saw people like, well, because it's so similar to the word pharmacy or pharmaceutical, like clearly that means that like drugs, full stop, are bad. And so like we just need to avoid medicine and vaccines and blah, 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 blah. And it's a similar, like, to me anyway, like kind of sensationalized scare tactic where the truth is somewhere in the middle, which it feels like that's our landing on every single episode ever, where it's like somewhere between.
Be reasonable.
Like, right, exactly. Where it's like, be aware that there may be some things here that you should at least like have a conversation with your kids about.
Yes.
Like, hey, that particular character like represents this thing. Here's like where that exists in its own like context. We don't believe that because XYZ, but you're not worshiping it. As long as you don't worship it, we're fine. Have fun. Enjoy the game. But like Cameron said, be aware that there could be something there. Like pay attention to what your kids are doing.
Yeah. So I have one question and then we need to wrap up because we're going pretty long. But I think it's worth asking. I think we all kind of agreed that Pokemon are fine, right? Especially Steven. He's a Pokemon worshipping pagan.
That's right. Yeah.
Are we being consistent in what we believe and what we practice? In the vein of, we spent no small amount of time like criticizing things like Bethel, things like Elevation, things like whatever, because they seem to consort with a different like type of faith than we do. And we're like, hey, nope, cut it out. Don't engage. Don't do it. Not worth it. But then when it comes to this, we're like, hey, you know what? That's all right. Are we being consistent? Why or why not? Thinking, and specifically, I'll read 1 Corinthians 10, 19 to 22, I guess.
It's like the stumbling block deal. Which one is that?
No, it's the...
Okay.
In the idea of there's a greater spiritual realm than we're often willing to remember and admit. So what do I imply then? That food offered to idols is anything, or that an idol is anything? No. I imply that what pagans sacrifice, they offer to demons and not to God. So Paul basically saying, idols are not nothing. Idols are demonic representatives in the here and now, right? I do not want you to be participants with demons. You cannot drink of the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons. You cannot partake of the table of the Lord and the table of demons. Shall we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he? So we spent a lot of time on this podcast over the last 22, 23 episodes, like, hey, stay away from these kinds of things because they could be delving into forces you don't want to mess with. Are we being consistent as we approach this topic?
We as in like the group, or just like evangelicals?
Yeah, we as in the
general?
group. We as in the group.
I mean, yeah, I would say it because like Pokemon's not making a truth claim, like people like Bethel are.
Says you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess maybe I mean, but I think that I guess that's my differentiator. Is like Pokemon can be as simple as a card game. It can be as simple as a collectible. Bethel can't really. Like I guess you can like listen to their music, and we've talked about that before, like where if you want to listen to their music in the car, whatever, like that's great. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But they make truth claims that are pretty antithetical to like our faith. I don't think, and maybe I'm just woefully uneducated, but I don't think Pokemon is making a truth claim. It can be something as simple as like enjoying just enjoying a kid's game. Well, not a kid's game. Who am I kidding? I'm 28. Yeah, like enjoying a game. Yeah. Or like a collectible, really, for me, is how I see it.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that passage in Corinthians necessarily makes that distinction. Because the food sacrifice to idols, and those idols are not making a truth claim either, but people are being party to those things which are representative of demons in the here and now.
So, okay, let me pull up that passage then, because maybe I'm missing what you're saying.
Right, so Paul's
there
saying
we go.
the Corinthians had question, hey, can we eat this food that's sacrificed to idols? Paul's ultimate landing is all things were lawful, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful, but not all things build up. Let no one seek his own good, but the good of his neighbor. And it's like, eat whatever you want to eat if you want to.
Right.
Unless your conscience stands in opposition. But I think that claim is so loaded when he says, no. What pagans sacrifice, they offer to demons and not to God. So this inanimate thing that is representative of something else is representative of a demon. So don't be party to that thing. And that inanimate thing is not making a truth claim, but it is still representative of a demon. So the idea that pagan gods, pagan idols are demons, there is a case potentially then for Kami to be representative of demons.
We talked about this in I think it might have been one of the Halloween episodes last year, or maybe it was the Lent one, where we talked about like over the course of human history, like
everything.
Some culture somewhere is going to have some culture somewhere is going to have co-opted everything at some point. Like a Christmas tree is a pagan symbol if you go back far enough. A oatmeal cream pie is probably a pagan symbol somewhere along the line. Like they have all been co-opted.
I will eat that food sacrificed to idols every time.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Give me that in a Star Crunch. I'll go wherever you want me to go.
God bless.
Anyway. The latter part of that verse that you just read is like where I was going to land if you guys were ever going to let me talk, which is that like, and I've like softened. I know it's going to be hard to believe. I've softened a little bit on the Bethel thing. I arrive a little more in the middle on most things these days. And what I mean by that is like I just said with the Pokemon thing, like, weigh it yourself, consider it yourself, listen to the prompting of the Holy Spirit within you. And if you're convicted that it's not right, then don't do it. If you're convicted that it's idol worship, then don't worship it. Whatever it may be, like, listen to that prompting within you, because that's why you were given the Holy Spirit. And sometimes that's going to mean different things to me than it does to Cameron, than it does to Steven. Like, we all are going to be spoken to a little bit differently on some things. I think we have to figure some things out sometimes, and sometimes that looks different for each person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I don't think that. I think it's just. I guess I'm just not convinced. Like, I think it's kind of a reach to say that like Pokemon is just straight up like representing demons. I don't know. Like, maybe design inspiration is about as far as you can go with that for certain Pokemon designs. But yeah, I don't know. Everything else, like I was saying before, just seems like a big old reach, because this is like specifically associating with things sacrificed to idols and like to demons, like specifically. So I guess if that claim could be made or substantiated, then yeah, it would be a little inconsistent, I guess. But
so
also
the answer
then it's
is
hard
maybe
to enjoy
we're
anything.
inconsistent. That's true.
Well, no,
maybe we're inconsistent, but we have the mic, so you can shut up about it.
That's exactly what I was going to say next. Well, no, you could also though apply this to a lot of things where remember the John Piper collecting seashells meme, like you just like can't enjoy anything, like don't do anything, like only. So there are extremes that you could take views like that. Maybe that's a better way to live than a lot of ways a lot of Christians live. There's always, I guess, to pull a Preston, there's always a balance to be struck with certain things. But I would just echo, if you don't want your kid participating in it, then don't. And
I remember what I was going to say.
But don't be annoying about it, all right?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, fair. Yeah. Preston remembers.
I do. I remember. It's now that I remember, it's not as profound as I remembered it being.
It's like, guys, actually,
it was gonna
be
great.
That Chips Ahoy is better than oatmeal cream pie.
Chips Ahoy. No.
They do have gluten-free, though. Oatmeal cream pie does not. So.
Does oatmeal have gluten?
Ahoy? No, oatmeal cream pie. Aren't they made with like, no, oatmeal does not. But, okay, anyway, now you got
yeah, I guess it's probably not just ground oatmeal and butter. I don't.
Right, yeah, like, anyway, this is for another time. Preston, what were you going to say?
Yeah, there's probably flour in there. Yeah, just like when it comes to shepherding people like through specific things like that, like I will always take the more like conservative approach in those conversations. Specifically, like if I don't know where that person is individually, like what their walk looks like, what their like individual faith looks like, I'm going to be careful about like recommending or endorsing anything to that end. And I was having a conversation a few days ago with somebody that was talking about they've got a neighbor who is homosexual but claims to be a believer, wants to like attend a church but is like worried about how they will be treated. And so there's just a lot of like, what do I do with that questions? And one of the things that this person said was like, well, like I explained to them, like, you know, all that's required for salvation is just like you put your faith in Jesus. I was like, yeah, but like scripture also tells us to bear fruit in keeping with repentance. So like if you are a believer, that's going to result in a change of lifestyle. So be careful how, like, I know you believe the right things, I know you profess the right things, but be careful how you are guiding someone else in that, because if you just outright say you've professed faith in Christ, you're done, like you're saved, then you're kind of misleading that person, because it should result in a life change that guides them out of habitual sin eventually. And so same kind of thing, like when I'm approaching, hey, should I watch or play with Pokemon or not? Like, well, I don't know. Like, here's the things you should be concerned about. Here's the things you should consider. Once you have considered that, once you have like prayed about that, thought about that, like if you feel like it's the right thing, then maybe go for it. And same thing with like listening to Bethel or reading Harry Potter or whatever the thing may be. Now, obviously there's certain things that we're just going to wholesale say, no, avoid that. But on those things that are like
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or Dragon Balls.
Too far.
Yeah.
I heard Game of Thrones has a lot of Dragon Balls in it.
Oh my gosh. And others.
And Momoa balls and
well, I'm done.
Threw him off his rocker.
Did we fix Pokemon?
We absolutely did.
We fixed it.
We fixed it. Hey.
Well, not the
Great.
market. The market's crazy right now, so don't buy Pokemon cards right now, people.
Do you have websites that you go to that have like little stock graphs and everything?
Are you kidding? There's like 1,000
That's
of them.
amazing.
Yeah.
Steven's actually got like 8 monitors. He's watching 3 of them right now. Like, Charizard's about to go through the roof.
That's my day trading. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you buy and sell options on? Yeah. Do you have that Princess Di beanie?
Yeah.
You're set, man.
Great. Well, hey, we fixed it. We fixed the Pokemons. So good job. Thanks for sticking with us despite our best efforts.
If you did. Mm-hmm.
If you made
We're
it this
trying
far,
really hard to keep these episodes at like 45 minutes and failing just abjectly. So I don't know if abject can be a adverb, but it is now.
We're only going over by 33%.
That's
you
a
look
lot.
at it that way.
You know what else we're going over is our like monthly minutes allowance in our podcast platform. So it's literally costing us
more
extra
of that money
when
than we don't have.
So hey, you should follow us on everything, like, subscribe, and all of that, so that we can afford to pay our overage bill, because we're
Please
out
help
of
us,
minutes for
Casper
the
Mattresses. Please help us. MeUndies. Who do we got
Put
out
on
there?
your
Come on.
MeUndies.
I'm
and
gonna bring a new
subscribe,
drink every time in hopes that
Ooh.
one day this company will see it and be like, all right, fine.
The Mormons are going to sponsor you via Baja Blast. If you keep that up.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a good little tag back. All right. Well, hey, I hope you enjoyed the time as much as we did. See you next week. We're going to talk about, I think, a whole episode of Harry Potter, maybe in witchcraft. Is witchcraft? How much here it is, right here. This is the title of next week's episode. How much witchcraft is too much witchcraft?